Hey, greetings everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. No matter which way you turn, all you hear about today is about coronavirus and how you need to make sure that you're safe and take care of yourself, your family, and your community. This is probably one of the first times when taking care of the community around you is more important because it's not just about your safety, but your community's safety in order to make sure that you slow down the impact of coronavirus. Let's go back and look at some of the things that we have seen in terms of all these pandemic diseases from time to time. There's HIV, there's Ebola, there's SARS, there's MERS, and from time to time we've had a situation where one or the other disease has threatened us as humankind. And when we look at the diagnosis as well as the care and the cure for any of these diseases, we generally find that more than a cure, it's always intervention and trying to suppress it, controlled, that's helpful to us. And that's what we've done in terms of being able to control it, not necessarily cure it, which is fine so long as we're in control of the disease and not vice versa. So intervention at a community level, at a personal level, at a public health level has always helped us be one in terms of the humankind coming together, irrespective of our strengths, of our weaknesses, of our differences, but it's one way of us coming together in order to fight anything that threatens us as a humankind, anything that threatens us as a race. So when we look at early intervention, that's the most critical, and the same goes for the current pandemic as well. It's early intervention where we interrupt the transmission of a communicable disease to identify, notify, counsel, and test those in close contact with infected persons. Of course, we need to encourage those that need to be tested and to quarantine themselves, but even if you're healthy, social distancing, as it's being called today, is important, which is basically not meeting in person in small or large groups. I think for once, we are relying on technology more than ever in terms of using social media or virtual contact over direct contact, which is a great place to be in terms of the world knowing how important it is that we have the technology that still keeps us connected even if we are not face to face. Now, social distancing is an important aspect of the current coronavirus situation in order to contain the speed at which it can affect all of us, in order to make sure that we slow it down while we look for a cure, while we look for a measure of controlling it. Slowing it down is key right now. A lot of us are working from home. The kids are at home. Earlier, we used to push the kids out to say, go and find some actual play. Go and play outside where you can actually spend time with others. But this time it's different. This time it's about kids playing alone or with their family or being on virtual platforms in order to interact and play with their friends and others. And that's got to be encouraged in order to make sure that we quarantine ourselves, that we ensure that we are not just considering and prioritizing our own welfare, but the welfare of others in the community, strangers, so to speak, in order to make sure that we all have compassion for people that we know as well as people we don't know if we want to slow down and contain this particular pandemic. So social solidarity will go a long way in curtailing the growth of this outbreak over a period of time. With social distancing, we will give enough impetus to our healthcare system to find its legs in terms of helping us control this pandemic, and also we'll give it enough time to go look for a cure. No matter which community you are in, it's better to operate under the pretense that there is transmission of this particular pandemic within your community already. There's going to be disruption to our daily life, and we want people around us and ourselves to feel empowered that we are in control of the disease and not vice versa. The decisions that we make, each one of us individually, as well as a community will ultimately affect the trajectory of this outbreak in our own communities. Now, if I have to go out, how can I do it in the most safest manner, protecting myself as well as others? That should be the thought process every time we step out in order to take care of business. We know that COVID-19 is not airborne, but we also know that it's passed through touch. It is still contagious, where we interact with other people who probably are already affected by it. Some of the do's and the don'ts, they've been all over the media: washing your hands, ensuring that you practice good personal hygiene, keeping in shape in terms of boosting your immunity, taking care of your health, taking care of the health of those around you, your family and friends. That's important as well. At the same time, social distancing and trying to minimize the number of times you go out or the number of times you interact with others for a period of time in order to slow down the spread is going to be crucial. Again, at the same time, we do not have to worry as much about what's going to happen to the community around us in terms of the economy and start hoarding. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure there's enough for everybody to go around and make sure that you bring in enough for your family to sustain over a period of a couple of weeks. And then if you need more, you can go out and bring it back in. There's no point hoarding things, because that'll just make sure that those that need it do not have access to it. And that's a different battle altogether. So follow the do's, follow the don'ts, take care of those around you, consider those around you, consider them as a priority. Because if you consider your community as a priority, your health will be taken care of as well. Let's work together on this as a community, as all of us, against the virus, and we'll all come out stronger and better. Hey, I hope you liked that episode. Do check out my website, rajivmudumba.com. And by the way, do check out Top Podcast Mastery Program. That's out there on the website. And if you're interested in podcasting, if you're interested in creating a brand image for who you are and what you have to offer, definitely check that course out. I'm sure it's going to provide you immense value, and it'll cut short your journey of researching podcasts by the weeks into a couple of hours to get started and moving on it. Thank you very much.